that this evening is going to be in the memory of the holy soul of Devorah bat Rachel, and may her neshama get an aliyah, and all the rest of the neshamot that needs a merit, an aliyah, should get an aliyah, an elevation, bizchut, at least one mitzvah that you're going to take out of this door tonight. And also, microphone, kacha? Oh. Also, a very young boy who got very, very sick today, Yedidia Ben Shendel, should have a refuah shlema. So we want to talk about marriage today, and we want to talk about many other things that has to do with marriage. And really, this topic is so important that I can talk now for 5 days straight, and it's not going to be enough. And it's not spoken enough, the whole concept, from beginning to end. And it's one of the most neglected topics, even though you hear about it a lot, about Shlom Bayit, and people all day long, they're looking for the other half. But the reality is that the whole world was created for one purpose. Many people ask, why did God create the world? Why do we need the world? So the Kadosh Baruch Hu answers, I created the world because I wanted to do better to my creatures. Ratzah Kadosh Baruch Hu lativ im bruav. Kadosh Baruch Hu wanted to give us a bonus. So He created the world. So the whole world was created in order to elevate us to a higher level. The whole world was created for the purpose of what's called yichud, unity. And we see that right when the Torah started, it's already talking about a marriage. So ultimately we came down to this world to get a bonus. Kadosh Baruch Hu wanted to give us a bonus. But for that we have to work. You don't get anything for free. Now most people, they live their life, half part of their life, they're just dreaming on the day that they're already going to get married. You see little girls, my 12-year-old girl, who puts all sorts of white shmatas on her, pretending she's a bride, and she takes her young brother, tells him, okay, you're the groom, stand here, say yes, no, stand over there, no, move back. Trying to boss him around already now. What type of a wife she's going to be. And then my other one, she's 3 years old, she takes my 5-year-old, okay, you're my husband, I'm the wife, she puts a shmata on her head, she starts bossing him around. Go give me this, go give me that. So my daughters are very bossy, taking over her mother's. No. My wife is tzadikah. From the day we come to this world, we start already dreaming of the day I'm going to get married. And we start fantasizing how she's going to look. She's going to be blonde. And she's going to be beautiful. And he's going to be muscular. And he's going to be like this. And you start building all these fantasies for 20, 30 years. That's the problem, is those fantasies. When I was looking for a shidduch, I came to my Rav and he told me, what are you looking for? I said, I don't know, like this, like that. So he told me one very good tip. And he told me, before you go on a shidduch, look around the universe and see if something what you want is created even. Because it might not exist. The reality is that our entire life, before marriage and after marriage, is all circled around one thing. As we came to this world, the first mitzvah that we got, pruvu, you should be multiple, you should multiply and be fruitful. So right from the beginning, the Kadosh Baruch Hu already told us, that's the purpose. I want you to be together, I want you to have a unity, build a family life, and that you should have a continuation. And something will continue, another generation. So the main part of our life is marriage. To a point that the Zohar HaKadosh, the Holy Zohar, says that a person, till he gets married, he's half a person. Palga gufa. Half a person. Till you get married, you're considered half a human being. And only once you get married, that's when you are ready to start doing your tikkun. Now we all know that we came down to this world many times. We come on a journey in a reincarnation. The Ari HaKadosh, that we're still celebrating his Yartzeit today, his Ilulah, he explains that we all come down to this world to do all 613 mitzvot in thought, speech, and action. And as many as reincarnation that it will take us, that's how long we have to do it. But we have to do all 613 mitzvot in all three levels of serving: thought, speech, and action. Most of the people take some couple reincarnations. We only know of two individuals that did it in one shot: David HaMelech and the prophet of Daniel. These are the two individuals that ever, when came down, did all 613 mitzvot in thought, speech, and action and left. There's no reincarnations of David HaMelech. There's no reincarnations of the prophet Daniel. But we're not in that level, so we come back here. Now on the way, we also kind of messed up some things in previous lives, so we have to do a tikkun. We have to fix something. The Zohar Kadosh explains that the man and the woman is the same soul. That's why Adam HaRishon, when he was created, look in Sefer Bereshit, it was Adam was in the front and Chava was in the back. They were one body, one soul. The Zohar Kadosh explains that there's a certain malach, an angel, that before the soul comes down to the world, he cuts the soul in half. The male part of the soul jumps into the male, and the female part of the soul jumps into the female. And then they fall in different places in the world. One falls in Brooklyn, another one falls in Los Angeles. The whole life they're searching for each other. Finally they meet. There's an attraction, because each and one of them is holding a spark that belongs to the other. So there's a certain attraction right away. And assuming everything is done kosher in the right way, they go into a chuppah. If the chuppah is kosher, not that you're eating the chuppah, right? Rather that the chuppah has to be done according to the laws of Moshe, Kadat Moshe B'Yisrael. You have to have kosher witnesses, and so forth. At the time of the chuppah, that's when the Kadosh Baruch Hu sews the souls together. And then they can start doing their tikkun. Now the point is that most of us don't know what's our tikkun. And if we would know what's our tikkun, then it would be much easy to apply it, to do something, to do what I need to do. But we don't know. The basics of our existence is to refine ourselves. The mitzvot we have to do, that's the food for our soul. Learning Torah, it's the air for our soul. The same way that you don't prevent yourself from eating food or breathing, then you have to give your neshama, your soul, food and air. Torah and mitzvot. But the main avodah that we came to do in this world, it's called tikkun hamidot, refining my character. The great Talmid of the Ari HaKadosh, Rabbi Chaim Vital, says that Torah and mitzvot are very important, but our main avodah in this world is to refine our character. And that can take a person an entire life to refine one character. And the Kadosh Baruch Hu makes sure that each and every one of the people in my life is a certain mirror that shows me what I have to do. So one person will get a very annoying father, one person will get a very annoying mother. One person will be unlucky, will get two annoying parents. But they are the mirrors. Some people will get some annoying brothers and sisters. The reality is that there's always annoying people in our life. They're annoying us because something's wrong with me, not with them. I'm getting annoyed because I have a problem, not them. They don't have a problem. I'm just looking in a mirror and I'm not happy with what I see. The ultimate mirror is my other half. My wife or my husband. The problem starts that throughout my life, when I'm waiting for that person, I'm starting to build this fantasy. And the thing is that the souls, they're separated from each other. So they miss each other. So till you get married, you have some type of a void in you. The Gemara calls a woman Avodah, lost. Why? Because the husband keeps looking for her. She's lost. He can't find her. And as we grow, unfortunately, we are brainwashed by society. So we have certain standards that we are defined that that's how my husband should be. He has to have a degree and a fancy car and a lot of money, and his family should be like this, and he should be like that. And the men look at it completely different. She has to be tall, at least 6 foot. If she's 5'9", I don't want to look at her. And she has to be beautiful, and she has to be gorgeous, and she has to be thin, and she has to be like this, she has to be like that. Unfortunately, we get into our minds some type of a design how we think our other half should be. And there was a very special individual. He passed away a few years ago, and he was known to prep people for shidduchim. And you know what he would tell both the boy and the girl before they would go on the shidduch? He would take them to a mirror, and he would tell them, look in the mirror, stare, and then he would say, you are not that great. Now go out on the date. First of all, before we even start, we have to understand that throughout our life, whether it's coming from movies, whether it's coming from TV, whether it's coming from anything around us, our opinion is being programmed already what I'm supposed to look for, which is usually the complete opposite of what my other half is. The problem is why many people do not find their other half is because the wrath of expectation is beyond normal. There's not even such a person even. And then, oh, she's not beautiful enough, he doesn't have enough money, no, he was annoying me the first date. That's the first problem, is that our wrath of expectations is outrageous. It's not normal even. There's no connection to the reality. And this wrath is not normal from one problem, is because we all have an ego. And the bigger the ego, the wrath gets higher. I'm so perfect, so he has to be perfect. And I'm so smart that he has to be at least smart as me. The reality is that our soul is divided in half, so my other half is not necessarily how I want it to look, it's what I'm missing. So the right way to come into the shidduch and in the entire life of marriage is to understand that my other half comes to fix me, to correct me, to refine me. And I'm doing the same thing to her. When the Kadosh Baruch Hu created Adam, then he sat down and the Kadosh Baruch Hu brought all the animals to him, and Adam HaRishon was in a very, very high level, spiritual level. He started naming all the animals. And then he noticed that all the animals, they have a mate. In Hebrew, you see that most of the animals, each gender has a different name. A lion, a male lion is Aryeh, but the female is Leviah. And most of the animals, a cow is Parah, and an ox is a shor. Almost each animal in the Hebrew language has a gender, the gender has a different name. So Adam HaRishon got very upset. How come I don't have a wife? So the Kadosh Baruch Hu says, okay, no problem. I'm going to create for you one. Evra lo ezer kenegdo. I'm going to create for him a helpmate. But the words in Hebrew that he says, ezer, a helpmate, kenegdo. Either to oppose him, either to be against him, or either to be just a mirror. So Rashi says, if he merits, that she's an ezer, she's a helpmate. If he doesn't merit, that she's nigdo, she's going to be against him. To kind of explain it in a more deeper way, because everything that we see in this world, it originates in a spiritual level. If you're looking at everything in a very superficial way, then you cannot analyze it the right way. You have to go to the mysticism of the Torah to understand what does Hashem wants from us. So we know that Hashem wanted to create us to benefit us, to give us a higher level. Kadosh Baruch Hu zakot et Israel. Kadosh Baruch Hu wanted to give us a greater reward. So that's why He created the world. And how does He give us this reward? What is the pay for the reward? Is the extra closeness to the Kadosh Baruch Hu. The higher the level it is in Gan Eden, the more closer you are to the Kadosh Baruch Hu, the more godly revelation you receive, the more greater your reward is, your spiritual reward is. And in order to receive this spiritual reward, one has to become a vessel to actually accept this reward. This is what's called in the terminology of Kabbalah, kli, a vessel. And in order for me to receive any type of blessing, then I have to have a good, clear, clean vessel. If somebody wants to give me now the most expensive wine, if I will pull out a cup that has a hole, then all the wine will fall out. And if my cup cannot hold any liquid, then all this expensive wine will fall out. So I have to prepare a clean vessel, that whatever liquid is going to be given to me can hold it. Same thing in anything. If I want parnasa, if I want to have livelihood, I have to create a vessel that will actually hold it. So in order to receive God's blessing, God's reward, which in the terminology of Kabbalah is called light, or, so I have to have some type of a vessel. So I build this vessel through mitzvot, through learning Torah. And that's how I build myself a vessel that when God is ready to give me this blessing, I have how to hold it. A mistake that people make a lot is they think that God has favors. He likes me more than him. He likes them more than him. No, God has no favors. God shines His godly light endless. He doesn't think who's shining it more. He shines it to everybody. Whoever is ready to receive can get more of it. It becomes a little bit more sophisticated because we know that God shines into this world with two types of motions. But one of them is called Or Mekif, a surrounding light. That's the light that is equal to everybody, but there's also something that's called Or Pnimi, a more inner light that goes to each one according to the level of what he can handle. So in order for me to receive this unbelievable abundance of blessing, I have to prepare myself a vessel, a spiritual vessel. If I don't have a vessel, I'm not able or worthy to receive this blessing. If I chas v'shalom damage my vessel, I'm not going to be able to receive this blessing. That's why people, they complain a lot. They maybe do 3 mitzvot here, and then they do here a whole pile of averot, of sins, and then they complain all day long. Why is this not working? Why is that not working? I don't have parnasa, I can't find my other half. Yeah, because you're damaging your vessel. You're totally breaking your vessel. The difference in marriage is that the husband and the wife is the relationship of the vessel. The woman is the vessel. The husband is the one who's what's called the mashpia, the giver. That's why we see that in the physical form, it looks to us like the husband is actually the one that's giving. The point to understand from that is that the relationship between the husband and wife is a giving and taking. And as long as there's no giving and taking, there's no partnership here, there's not going to be a relationship. So if you want to precede that idea for the ones who are still on the search, you have to remove the expectations. Completely remove the expectations, because the other half is not what you think it is. If you're really, 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 really lucky, then he might look a little bit how you expect, and he will come with the qualities that you kind of like. But the reality is that my other half came to refine me. Now each and every one of us comes down here with a list of character traits that needs to be refined. So the Kadosh Baruch Hu puts in my other half the right person to push all the right buttons to annoy me all day long. So if I'm a neat freak, my wife is going to be the biggest slob ever. Anything that annoys me the most, my wife is going to have. If I can't stand a person chewing loud, she'll chew loud. If I can't stand bubbles from the bubble gum, she'll chew bubble gum all day long. The point is that the Kadosh Baruch Hu placed in our face the right one to make sure that I can recognize all these character traits that I need to refine. And if I'm coming into the relationship with an ego, bound to fail. You can already hire a divorce lawyer. Don't even get married. This is our problem, is our ego. Now marriage is not about a fancy wedding and then living in a house and living in a dream and that you walk in the street holding hands. and before you go to bed, you tell each other how much you love each other, and you kiss. That's not marriage. That's maybe in the movies it works like that. Or in the first week of marriage. That's not marriage. You want to walk hand in hand? Do that in the first week. After that, you don't want to do that. The point is that marriage is not about a fantasy. Marriage is about correcting what I'm supposed to do in this world. Marriage is a tikkun. It's the ultimate tikkun. I came down here to this world to fix things that I'm missing, and the marriage is the tool for that. Now forget about everything around it, that later on you create a family, then comes kids. This is 3 steps after that a smart person already starts thinking before he even goes into that, because my kids are going to be my next generation, and my grandkids are going to be the third, and so forth, and I want to make sure that I'm leaving behind something. The biggest sorrow for a human being is that he doesn't have a kid to continue his legacy. So my kids is the biggest investment for my future. So the entire structure of the marriage is the formula that what I will give my kids, because most people, they look at their parents and only because of that they don't want to get married. Because unfortunately every generation completely is different. We can't look at our parents and learn from that how to have a relationship. Because all the generations, they change. But the reality is that you have to look at the relationship of your parents, and where they failed, you have to fix it. So if you are in the beginning stages of the road, then you have to understand that marriage is not about holding hands in the street, it's not about romance, it's about fixing your neshama, it's about refining yourself, it's about designing the next generation, it's about bringing the redemption much faster. Because if I build in my home a mikdash, a sanctuary, then I can bring the Shekhinah into my home. Since Beit HaMikdash was destroyed, we know the Shekhinah is in the Kotel. It's right over there, it doesn't move from there. But you can also bring the Shekhinah into your home. It says about a husband and wife, if they have a shlom bayit between themselves, Shekhinah shruya b'nehem. The Shekhinah is between them. But if not, Esh ochalta. Fire is going to be between them. You see a beautiful hint in the word man and woman in Hebrew. It's ish veisha. If you take the word ish and you take the word isha, if you take the letters yud of the ish and hey of isha and you move them out, which is yud kei, the first 2 letters of the Kadosh Baruch Hu, you take the Kadosh Baruch Hu out of the marriage, then you're only left with esh, with fire. This is what the Gemara, Rabbi Akiva says. If they really work on it, then Shekhinah shruya b'nehem. The godly revelation is in the house. Maybe you had an experience one to walk into somebody's house and you feel holy presence there. You feel the Shekhinah in the house because the husband respects his wife. And the wife respects her husband. And they don't curse each other, and they don't call each other names, and they don't mock each other. They don't look aside of all sorts of things, and there's respect between them, and they do what they're supposed to do. Then the holy presence is in the home. If chas v'shalom they don't have that, it's only fire. So the point to understand is that first of all and most important, you have to kill your ego. You cannot approach with an ego. And this is to anything. But since we're talking about marriage and relationships, that cannot be the existence of an ego. Because if I come with some type of an existence that I'm so great and I'm so perfect and I deserve everything, then this is a recipe for failure, because it's the Kadosh Baruch Hu doesn't think that that's what I'm supposed to get. Now 40 days before we were being created, it's already announced in Shamayim who's going to be the husband and wife. And yes, once you come down to the world, chas v'shalom, you can push your zivug away. There are many different explanations that a person actually gets his zivug according to his level. And a person with his avodah, with his tshuva, can bring the zivug much faster, much easier, smoother. Half of the people, they find the other half. But the process to get to the chuppah, it's like hell. The parents don't like him, and she's don't like him, and the families fight, and they don't agree about the hall, and I want that photographer, no, I want that photographer. Who cares about the photographer? Sorry, photographers, where are they? No offense. The point is that it's not only how to get to the chuppah, it's the process of the chuppah. And the process how to get there. So the first and most important to understand is that if I approach this journey with an ego, I already should take a business cards of a divorce lawyer, because it's not going to work. Or I'm going to have a hell of a marriage. But more than that, the approach has to be that my wife is my mirror. So if I don't treat her the right way, that's what's going to be reflecting back at me. If there's not going to be respect between the husband and the wife, that's what's going to be bouncing backwards and forth. The point to take from that is very, very simple, is that the whole tikkun, I came to this world to refine myself. Now, if my ego is too out of control and I can't tolerate the fact that I am impatient, or that I have an anger problem, or that I can't tolerate things that annoy me, or also, that's my problem. It's nothing to do with my spouse. My spouse is just positioned there for me to see what I have to work on. And before I even got to the marriage, now I have to figure out. That's why I have to approach the date, approach the shidduch, very humble, by saying, okay, let's see what the Kadosh Baruch Hu has in store for me. Now, in order for me to sit in front of the other person on a date and to recognize that that's my other half, you have to come and approach very, very clean. You have to refine yourself. You can't just assume that you're going to sit in a date and that's it. You're going to get the answer right away. Most people, they go on a date, I don't know, he's cute, but he's annoying. The car is red, I want it black. One needs to really refine themselves in order to sit in a date and understand right away, that's my other half. Why? Because I don't like him. The point is not what I fantasize on in the marriage, is what is good for me. That's why in the religious world, when they do shidduchim, if they do it the right way, it's not based on attraction. And it's not based on the balance in the bank account. And it's not based on all these things, because these things, they come and go. A lot of young men come and they tell me, maybe help me to find a shidduch. Okay, what are you looking for? He has a whole list of demands. A whole list of demands. And then he doesn't understand why he can't find her. You know, there's a sad story that one young man came to the Lubavitcher Rebbe many years ago, and he told him, give me a blessing to find my other half. The Rebbe gave him a blessing. I'm giving you a bracha, you should find your other half. Months have passed, he didn't find his other half. He got very upset, so he went back. That was the time when the Rebbe used to stand and give out dollars on Sunday. So he waited in line for 3 hours, finally got his time to stand, and then he told the Rebbe, you know, your bracha didn't work. Your blessing didn't work. I didn't find my other half. So the Rebbe answered him, you did, but her nose was too big. It's a true story. You laughed. I think it's a sad story. Because marriage is to accept my faults. And I have a lot of faults. If I wake up in the morning and I look in the mirror and I think I'm looking at a perfect thing, a perfect image, I have a serious problem. And it's not only for marriage, it's for everything in life. If I wake up in the morning and I look in the mirror and I say, okay, I'm not that great. I'm also annoying. And I'm also have all sorts of bad character traits. Then you're ready to go out on a date. And if you're already married, then you're ready to work on your marriage. Because the reality is that we're very not perfect. We came with a long list of issues and problems. The whole point here to understand is very simple. Marriage is the base for everything. Even when we got the Torah, it was compared that we got married with the Kadosh Baruch Hu. We, Knesset Israel, were married to the Master of the universe. And there was a chuppah. Kadosh Baruch Hu took Har Sinai, Mount Sinai, turned it upside down like a chuppah. All the angels were the bride, the grooms, how they call it here in America, groomsmaid, bridesmaid. All these little things that we do in a chuppah, that's actually what happened in Matan Torah. That's why we got all these customs. But there was a wedding. There was a connection, a unity. The whole point of this world is only unity. Look at the entire world. The mitzvot, we got a mitzvah. All the mitzvot that we do is for the sake of unity. You see it in many, many different nosachim, especially Sfaradi. Every time they come to do a mitzvah. L'shem yichud kudsha b'richu shchinteh. Some of them exaggerated everything they do. They tie their shoes. L'shem yichud kudsha. Put on a jacket. L'shem yichud kudsha. But on a serious note, is that everything that I do is for the sake of the unity of Kudsha Brichu, the Kadosh Baruch Hu, and Shchinteh, and his feminine aspect of the divine. That's why we got all these mitzvot. Mitzvah does not come from the word commandment. People think that mitzvah is an order. You have to do the mitzvah. People have this this image of God sitting in Shamayim on this big fancy chair with a long beard and throwing orders everywhere. Put tefillin on, keep Shabbat. That's the image people think. The commandments that we get, the word mitzvah comes from the word tzavta. Tzavta is a unity. When I do a mitzvah, I get totally connected with the Master of the universe. In a level that I can't even imagine. To a point that our sages say in the Mishnah, Yafa sha'achat b'tshuva u'ma'asim tovim ba'olam hazeh mikol chei olam haba. 1 hour of Torah and good deeds in this world is much more greater than the entire olam haba. How? Because when I do a mitzvah in this world, I get connected to the highest level of godly revelation. Atzmut. The essence of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And no neshama in Gan Eden can do it in Gan Eden. And this is done here in this world. So when I put tefillin on, or I do any other mitzvah, I get connected with the Kadosh Baruch Hu. In unbelievable unity. This is a mitzvah. So we see that the entire Torah is all for the unity. The world was created for unity. The famous pasuk, everybody knows how to say, even if they're not even affiliated at all. Shema Yisrael. Why? Hashem Echad. Everything is Echad. That's why Kadosh Baruch Hu is called Echad and not Rishon. Rishon is first. Because if he would be called first, which means it has to be Shani, a second. So we say Echad. There's only Echad. There's nothing else. Why? Because everything is about unity. The Zohar explains that Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad is what's called Yehuda Ila'ah, a higher level of unity. Baruch Shem Kol Malchuto is Yehuda Tata, a low level of unity. The whole Torah is based on unity. So the Kadosh Baruch Hu puts me in this world and he tells me, okay, now I want you to create a unity in this world so you can bring me into this world so I can manifest into this world. And through this manifestation, I can continue the creation of this world. So I have a great responsibility of building a Beit Ne'eman b'Yisrael. Ne'eman means trustworthy. Why? Because I'm going to do the mitzvot and I'm going to be trustworthy and Ne'eman to my wife or to my husband and to the Torah. And my house is going to be based on Torah and mitzvot. If my house is not based on Torah and mitzvot, 90% there's not going to be Shalom Bayit there. Because there's no Torah and mitzvot in the house. I'm not talking about in the next generation, the education of the kids, how much headache you're going to get from the kids. So the Kadosh Baruch Hu comes and tells me, listen, I created you in this world so you can bring unity to the world. And the foundation of that is in the home. Don't mess it up. Don't come with your ego, you're with a fat ego. And think that you deserve everything. You don't deserve everything. It has nothing to do with what you deserve. If you want to be deserved, refine yourself. Elevate yourself. Bring yourself to a higher level. Bechlal Chazal say that you get your zivug according to your level. So if you're in this level, that you get this type of a zivug to your level. That's why sometimes people can actually miss the zivug, the other half. The point is, it doesn't matter in what way I am. If I'm before my marriage, into the marriage, after the marriage, in between the marriage, if I don't have a foundation of Torah and Mitzvot, then nothing is going to work. Because the first thing the Torah teaches us is that you have to have derech eretz. You have to respect your other half. And if you do not respect your wife, and you're making a doormat out of her, don't expect to have a blessing in anything. Not in your parnasah, for sure not in your shlom bayit. Your kids will never listen to you. Nobody will listen to you. Because you are creating an energy around you that people on the street are not going to even respect you. If you are able to disrespect your wife, your other half, the mother to your kids, the Gemara says, oy va'avoy, the poor man, that one tear will come out of his wife's eye, that poor man. The wife is the Shekhinah in the home. And don't get an ego for that. But you have to also understand that the woman is the Shekhinah, is the manifestation of the Malchut. She's the queen. Everything is in the wife. You know, a husband can study all day long, 18 hours a day Torah. On Friday evening, if she does not accept the husband into the house, his Torah is worthless. He's staying outside, spiritually. It's explained based on the teachings of Kabbalah that when the husband walks home from Arvit of Erev Shabbat, two angels are escorting him. One of them is what's called Malach HaSharet, a very high angel, and the other one is Malach HaMavet. They're escorting him back from Shul. That's why the first thing that we do on Friday night, we should sing Shalom Aleichem. What do we sing? Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet. Look at the other verses, it's already turning to Malachei HaShalom. The first one is always Malachei HaSharet. The second, third, and fourth doesn't matter. On your nosach will be Malachei HaShalom. The teachings of Kabbalah explains that the man walks in, two angels with him. One is Malach Sharet, the other one is Malach HaMavet. If the woman lit candles, made challah, prepared the beautiful Shabbat meal, and in her mind and her heart accepted her husband, because he treated her like a queen the whole week, he's welcomed into the house with the angels. So Malach HaMavet becomes Malach HaSharet. That's why we say now they're Malachei HaShalom. And if not, then who is he coming in with? He might not even come in. The Torah stays outside with the husband. But the woman has to accept. It's a give and take. If you look in this world, everything is a relationship of two things, and they have to rub each other. Look at electricity. You have one wire is the plus, one wire is the minus. Take one wire, nothing works. Take two wires, put them together, starts giving. Giving and taking, giving and taking. You can take like two bottles. Put in one bottle oxygen, one bottle hydrogen. You're going to look at the bottle, you don't see nothing. You can't see gas. You open the bottle, you smell it, you can't smell anything. Totally transparent. There's nothing. Can't hold it, can't smell it, can't see it. Take it now to a chemist. He's going to put them both together. Two of the hydrogen and one of the oxygen. Whoop! A drop of water. Drop of water from something there's nothing there. H2O. How? Because the secret of this universe, of this world, is when you take two things that are opposite from each other, you rub them together, it will create something. How do you light a match? You need to strike it. Almost anything you're going to look in this world, you want to create something, it has to be two entities that are completely opposite, and they have to be rubbed against each other. So Kadosh Baruch Hu puts in front of me a completely different entity. And we constantly have to rub against each other. Not physically. Physically too, but you don't want to rub too much each other. But you need to have this spark. That's this giving and the taking. And if I'm coming to the relationship only to take, there's not going to be nothing to take after a certain while. So both sides have to come to the deal. It's a deal. It's a business deal. But both have to come with the understanding that you give me, I give you. You give me, I'll give you. We're going to start switching here. And then we create a unity. And when I create this healthy unity, I don't have any problems. Because if in my house I have quiet, my soul is quiet, my kids are good, my parnasah works better, I don't go crazy all day long, fighting. And it all boils down to the same thing. It's my ego. My ego, my problem. I am the right one. She's at fault. You know what's the funniest thing? Couples come to me for counseling. And I sit them first separately. All I hear, she's annoying. She does this. She does that. He's dirty. He's a slob. The underwear is on the floor. They're only talking about each other. Neither one of them is saying, you know, I have a bad habit and she can't stand it. Nobody says that. Nobody has the guts to say, you know, I'm a little bit annoying because when I come home from work, I start screaming and she doesn't like it. Everybody says on the other hand, no, it's her fault. I didn't do anything. I'm 100% good. You're not going to be able to refine yourself spiritually if you don't have another half, a spouse. So you have to respect the other half. That's your personal trainer. Comes to design you. See, this is your faults. You have to work on your patience. Okay, so Hashem is going to put something in front of you. You have to work on your anger. Hashem is going to put the right person in front of you. You have to work on your forgiveness. Whatever it is. You make your own calculation, what you have to work on. But the point is that it has to be a give and take relationship, and I cannot give or take if there's only one party to the relationship. So it doesn't matter on which part of the process you are, you have to totally decode the program that was already there before and start completely new. The basics of all is to keep Torah and Mitzvot. There's no loophole here. People think that if I don't keep Torah and Mitzvot, things will work out. That has nothing to do with it. Without Torah and Mitzvot, nothing will work out. Has to have these basics. But then I have to reprogram myself when I approach the date or the marriage, and to understand it has nothing to do with me. It's not about me. It's about her. Later on, it's about my kids. I walk home. Before I walk into the home, I take a step. I take a breath for 1 minute. I leave all the headache and the junk that I accumulated the entire day outside, and then I walk into the house. So instead of start screaming everywhere because I had a bad day and somebody annoyed me, and this didn't work out, and that didn't work out, and now everybody is doing my way, is my target, then you take a minute, and you wait outside of the house, and you leave this baggage behind, and then you walk into the house. And you understand that other people also have emotions. And the more you hurt another person, the more back they go. This is the logic where I don't understand, and it's mainly with husbands. They think that they can humiliate the wife, disrespect her, make fun of her, humiliate her, use her, etc., etc., and then they don't understand why they're not getting any respect from anywhere, and nothing works out. And the point is that unfortunately in many different sects, it became a normal thing. So the woman thinks, okay, I'm a shmate, I was born to be a shmate, so let him do whatever he wants. That's a very bad attitude. You know what it says about the woman? Kol kevuda bat melech penimah. The entire essence of the woman is that she has to be more respected and more honored. And you know, that sounds like a cliche, but that's what they say, a husband that makes his wife a queen will become a king. And a man that wants to be successful in business, in his community, whatever he does, it's only measured by how much he's respecting his wife. And it will all boil down to the same thing, that if I am a God-fearing person, then by default, without thinking too much, I'm going to respect any human being. But so much more so my wife. the more I'm removed from the Kadosh Baruch Hu, the level of respect for any human being starts diminishing. That's why I walk in the street and I think everybody owes me something. This comes from the worst character trait, which is called ge'ava, pride. A person that holds himself and has a lot of pride, it's the worst character trait. That will start birthing character traits like anger and jealousy. The opposite of anger, of pride, is humble. The more humble a person is, by default Hashem already elevates him. The Ramban says, "Hashpel et atzmecha," make yourself low, v'yinasecha makom. Hashem is going to raise you up. Be'apo mashpil geim. Kadosh Baruch Hu, somebody has a little bit of pride, Hashem is going to make you this big. Look at our teacher. You know, in our past, every one of our sages got a title. Avram Avinu, our father. Yosef, HaTzadik, the righteous. David, HaMelech. Everyone got a title. Moshe got Rabbeinu, our rabbi, our teacher. Look at him, that's how you have to do. And it says about Moshe Rabbeinu, Aish haya anav mikol. He was the most humble person in the world. That's why he was able to reach to such a high level. To such a high level of prophecy that he was able to see the Kadosh Baruch Hu. Why? Because he was humble. And you see his humbleness. The Torah gives us a story that when Korach came to prove him wrong, Korach came and told him, "You're a fake politician, you're rigging the votes here, giving everybody positions." You would think that the reaction of Moshe Rabbeinu would be like, "Whoa, calm it down. Who are you talking to? You know who I am? I'm the king. You know who I am? I took the Jews out of Mitzrayim, I opened the sea." Shh. That's what you expect somebody like Moshe Rabbeinu to answer. You know what was his reaction? The Torah says, "Vayipol al panav vayevk." He fell on his face and he started crying. In his mind, he was like, "Wait a minute. Maybe he's right. Maybe I did something wrong. Maybe I didn't do something right. Maybe he's right." And that's what I said, okay, we'll do this test and we'll see what the Kadosh Baruch Hu says. That's Anava. Not thinking that he's right all the time. Seeing what the other person that's rebuking him saying, and saying, "Wait a minute, maybe that person is right." So when your wife tells you, "You never listen to me," don't tell her, tell her, "Wait a minute, maybe she's right. Maybe I don't listen to her." That's midat ha'anava. And when a person carries himself in that level, the only result will be that he will be elevated to a much, much higher level than what he can even fathom that he can reach. Only midat ha'anava. And the more a person humbles himself, the Kadosh Baruch Hu makes him greater and greater. And you know, there's a cliche in America that says behind any successful man there's a supporting woman. I don't know, maybe I'm saying it wrong, but you know the point. I see you all nodding, so you know what I'm saying. That's the truth. The reality is that the truth. You know, I don't like that. Every time I come to lectures, everybody praising me. This, he says that. I don't even repeat it. I don't like that. And you know who's supposed to get the credit? Not me. So what if I go all around the world and travel and give 3 lectures a day and sleeps 2 hours a night? You know who needs the credit? My wife. Not me. I can't do anything without her. She's home. She's with the kids. She's taking care of my kids. She doesn't sleep at night waiting for me to come home at 4 o'clock in the morning. She deserves the credit. You know that not too long ago I was in a lecture. A woman came up to me and she told me, "Can you give me your wife's number? I want to call her. I want to thank her. I want to thank her for letting you come tonight and teach us." And I was like, wow, please, here, call her. Please. Because behind any successful human being or a husband or whatever, however you want to call it, there's a wife standing behind. So the lesson from that, we'll start with the men, is respect your wife, because she's everything. The wife is everything. In the Sfirot, the wife is compared to the Malchut. The husband is the Zeir Anpin, is the Midot. The wife is everything. She's the king. Everything is leaning on the Malchut, on the Malchut. She's the channel that connects everything from the world above to the world below. Everything. You want to be selfish? Then the parnasah comes from the wife. You want to be selfish and have an easy life? The chinuch of the Nadim, the Yirat Shamayim, comes from the wife. Everything comes from the wife. You can sit now in a yeshiva for 5 hours and learn Gemara. One word is not going to penetrate into your brain if your wife is not allowing it in the spiritual level from sitting at home. She gets your sachar when you learn Torah. She allows you to learn Torah. You can learn all day long in yeshiva. If your wife is upset at you because you slam the door in the morning, you're wasting your time. Nothing's going to penetrate in the brain. And the smart wife says, okay, you go and learn Torah. I'm going to accept your Torah on Yom Shishi. But it's constantly a give and take. It has to be a give and take. And if you're not prepared to give and take, then don't go on Shidduchim yet. To meditate in your mind and say, whatever the Kadosh Baruch Hu wants to give me, I'll accept. When I went on Shidduchim, I didn't say, oh, I want her to be 5.8 and maximum 24. 24 in 2 months, I'm not accepting her. This is nonsense. This is the things people tell me. Last week I meet a guy, he's 44. He's like, she has to be maximum 26. Why would she look? Why would a 26-year-old woman look at you? You have her age. You double her age. Why would she look at you? No. She has to be 26. And if she's 27, no? The point is that when I went on Shidduchim and many other people, and they asked me, what do I want? I said, I don't know. I don't want anything. Whatever the Kadosh Baruch Hu gives me, I'll deal with it. He's going to give me a good mirror. I'm sure he's going to give me a very good mirror. And the more you humble yourself, what is given to you is 10 times greater. A, because you accept it with open hands. So it comes, you accept it with the faults. You're not that perfect. Look in the mirror every day and say to yourself, okay, I'm not that perfect. The point to take from tonight is that we have to understand that our entire foundation is based on the fact that I came down to this world as a slave to the master of the universe. I came here with an agenda. I came here to refine my soul. I came here to hasten the redemption. I have a job here. I have a lot what to do in this world. And the majority of my work is all based on the fact that is called marriage. And if I prepare myself the right way, and if I concentrate on the marriage the right way, and I put all my efforts into my marriage, because what comes after the wedding? Kids. And if you do it the right way, you enjoy your kids. You get Nachat from the kids. It's fun for you to play with them, and they don't annoy you all day long. I see some parents, they're like, I can't wait for the kid to go to sleep already. What kind of an answer is that? I never heard that. I can't understand in my mind how a parent says to his kids, go to sleep already. That's not healthy. If you're saying that to your kids, you have to reevaluate what's going on. Your kid should not be annoying you. And if your kid is annoying you, you have to reassess what's going on here. But the next thing after marriage comes the kids. And then you have about 30 years to deal with a bunch of little things running in your house. And that's a greater reason why you were created. Because you have to prepare the next generation. The next generations of the Jews that are going to take over. That are going to have the right midot. They'll have Yirat Shamayim, they'll be God-fearing, they'll have Avat Israel, they'll love the Torah, love every other human being. You are a billboard in the house. So my entire day should be focused on the fact that I'm hired here. This is my job. And the same way that how I would want to be treated, that's how I have to treat my wife or my husband. What you hate, you don't do to your spouse. You don't do it to anyone, but so much more so to your spouse. And this, again, all boils down to the same thing as the ego. Remove your ego, you're not going to have a problem. You're going to find your other half like that. You're going to have the best marriage ever. Now, it doesn't mean that all day long, like I said, you're going to holding hands and kissing at night. That's not a good marriage. That's not what defines a good marriage if you hold your hands with your wife. What defines a good marriage, that you have Nachat Ruach. Sheket. Shh. I'm happy to come home. I'm comfortable in my home. I don't have to sit outside with my buddies all night because I can't stand to see my wife's face now. But that's the reality. Everybody's laughing. The reality is that people get to a point that the marriage is so hard that they can't stand each other anymore. And they're the other half. It is the zivug. Just the ego is so out of control. They can't stand each other to a point that they just look at each other like, oh. So a good marriage is not necessarily all the romance and all that stuff. A good marriage is that you're happy. That you are happy inside, that you have simchat nefesh. A person that has a bad marriage is suffering from inside unbelievable turmoil. And of course, right away, divorce. Which in very few cases, that's the answer. In most of the cases, that's not even the answer. Just work on it. There wasn't divorce lawyers 600 years ago. They would work on it. So the point is that if I can get to a point that I can live in peace with my spouse, at the end of the day I will live in peace with myself, and at the end of the day I will be in peace with the Kadosh Baruch Hu. And if I can't figure it out with my wife or my husband, I will never be at peace with myself, and for sure not with the Kadosh Baruch Hu, with the Master of the Universe. So to summarize, I can summarize it with one word. Ego. Take the ego out of the equation, that's it. You're good to go. To work on yourself, to humble yourself, and this will not only affect your marriage, it will affect anything that you do in your life. And the reality is that every act that you do, you're creating some type of energy around you. You humble yourself, you respect any other person, you walk in the street, people by default will smile to you, will be nice to you, will be courteous to you, they'll respect you. Because the energy that you're projecting around you, is you're not walking like full of gava, full of pride. People can't stand that. Who wants to stand that? Nobody wants to be next to a person like that. Humble yourself. Trust me, you're going to be the most successful person in the world just by humbling yourself. So the point to understand from here is the entire basics and the foundations of marriage is not about all the bells and whistles, it's about refining myself, creating unity in this world, bringing the next generation to the world, designing the next generation to the world, ultimately bringing the Master of the Universe into the world. It's not about me and it's not about my comfort zone. It has nothing to do with it. And as long as you're holding to the me, what I want and what I need, and I need to be comfortable, it will never work out. You're going to bang your head in the wall all day long. And then you'll find yourself 10 years later, it's not working out. That's why you see people, Hashem Yerachem, unfortunately in our generation, people in their 30s, in their 40s, they can't find their other half. They cannot find their other half, because there's too much mess going around, exactly like the story I told you before. You met her already, but her nose was too big. The car wasn't brand new. It's all sorts of nonsense. Why? Because this is me. Oh, I need to be satisfied. My comfort needs to be catered. So the trick here is the more you humble yourself, by default, everything will work out much, much better. And this is the hardest work to achieve, is to work on myself on a daily basis, that I have to diminish my ego, I have to work on my midot, I have to refine my character trait. And the more I do that, the higher I will raise. Constantly I will raise, more and more and more. The more I lower myself, the more I'm cleaning and creating this vessel that all this godly light, this hashpa'ah, this blessing, you can get. I have to receive this blessing from the Kadosh Baruch Hu. So Bezrat Hashem, besides hearing all sorts of information, is how you apply it. The bottom line is how you leave the door. You have to apply now a few steps. And the steps that you need to apply is that I have to work on myself. I have to humble myself. I have to refine myself. It can only be done when I keep Torah and Mitzvot. It cannot be done. This is one of the components that cannot be removed. Because any relationship that doesn't have Torah and Mitzvot in it will not work. Even if you find the other half, it's going to be rocky. It's not going to work at all. Because the Torah and the Mitzvot is the foundation. That's why we say, when you get a blessing for somebody to get married, Kedat Moshe b'Yisrael. Why don't you say any other thing? No, because if you want the foundation to be strong, it's Kedat Moshe b'Yisrael, what the Torah tells you to do. A house without Torah, there will never be the Shekhinah in there. And I can tell you from experience from thousands of couples, their true happiness only comes when there's unity. You can have millions of dollars. If you're not happy with your wife, your money is worthless. You can have anything that you want. If you're not happy in the relationship, everything is worthless. So the foundation of all is I have to keep Torah and Mitzvot. More than that, I came here to refine myself. I have to understand my other half is my mirror, and I have to accept it, and I have to work on the fact that, I have issues with anger, and I have issues with patience, and I have issues with tolerance, and I have issues with forgiving. It's my issues. I'm the problem here, not everybody else. You live with this way of thinking, everything in your path will fall to the right place. If you think completely different, that somebody needs to cater you, it's all about you, nothing will work out. So if you want to take something out of this door, is the fact that I am nothing. Avraham Avinu says, Va'ani afar ka'efer, I'm dust. I'm nothing. We say it in Shmona Esrei, V'nafshi ka'afar kol tiyeh, I'm nothing. Once I'm nothing, then I become something. As long as I'm something, I'll never become anything. So you want to go you starting from here to go on Shidduchim, you have to prep yourself. The more you subdue, you'll get much better, much faster. You give from here, it comes from here. Look now at modern medicine. I'm not the biggest advocate to modern medicine, because modern medicine is just giving you a chemical in a white pill and shut up. It numbs everything down. And our generation is a numbing generation. Here, take, numb down. Just shh. You have a headache, here, take a pill. You have a pain, here, take a pill. You're depressed, here, take a pill. This is not a solution. This is just numbing the problem. What's the real solution? Is addressing the problem. Now, if you look at ancient medicine, you go to a Chinese doctor, you tell him, my shoulder hurts me, he pokes your knee. No, I told you my shoulder hurts. Pokes your knee. Yeah, but I said you the shoulder. Shh. We have this for thousands of years. Trust me. The point is that you looking at a problem and you're trying to address it in a direct way. It doesn't work like that. The problem is from here, you address it from here. And you address it by you working on yourself. If you have problems in your marital life, it's you, it's not the wife. You have problems with finding your shidduch, it's you, it's not the husband. When you accept this way of thinking, that's how you find this, because you address the problem. You don't numb the problem. And it works both ways, before the marriage and into the marriage. Into the marriage, it's 10 times more. Because it's much easier to numb a problem with a fight. Shut up! It's very easy just to say shut up and slam the door. It's much, much easier to say, okay, let's sit down. Let's hear. What's bothering you? You're annoying. Okay, I'm sorry. But that's the attitude. The attitude is here, numb it. Shut up. Not talking to you now. Now all the WhatsApps are these without the blue V. I saw you looking at the message. The V is blue. He's ignoring me now. Now all our friends, he's ignoring me. Of course he's ignoring you, because you're annoying him. The point is, that it's not an ego fight. Who's more annoying? Who's more right? The point is that my other half is me in a different shape, in a different form. And then my kids become me in a different form. And all this is a manifestation of the Shekhinah, of the godly revelation in this world. And the point is that if I want to deal with the problem, is not numbing it from one side, it's to addressing it from a completely different angle. So you want a happy life? You want a happy marriage? You want to get married? Is then you work on yourself. You elevate yourself. You refine yourself. You refine your character traits. You humble yourself. You accept the fact that you are nothing and somebody else is not here to serve you. My wife was not created to make me coffee. And she was not created to mop the floor. My wife is a human being with feelings. And the more that I address these feelings, the more I empower her. The more she's happy, I'll be happy. Same thing, I'm saying wife. It's the same thing with husband. The husbands also have feelings, even though they're pretending that they'll be so tough. So Bezrat Hashem, you realize from this point on that your life, your marriage life, is not only based dafka in the house, it's much more than the house. It goes out of the house, because eventually it will affect the kids and everything around you. And beyond all that, you know, when we left Mitzrayim, we were slaves, then we went into the desert, then we got the Torah, and then we went into Eretz Yisrael. The first thing the Kadosh Baruch Hu told us, "V'asitim lemikdash v'shachanti betocham." You should build me a sanctuary. V'shachanti betocham, and I dwelled in them. And of course comes a big question, why are you saying betocham? Tocham is plural. You should say betocho, in it. You should build me a sanctuary, and I will dwell in it. So the Kadosh Baruch Hu says, no, betocham, in each and every one of you. Comes the Ari HaKadosh, and he says, spread the word, and you read it, betoch, mem. But this is a mem sofit. A mem sofit is a square. 4 walls. This is a mishkan. This is a mikdash. Holy and closed. No damages, no cracks, no negativity. And your house is the mishkan. So you build a mishkan, and then the Kadosh Baruch Hu can dwell in there. And if each and every one of us will build our own mishkan, my own mikdash, we'll merit to see the coming of Mashiach. We're going to get to see the real Bet HaMikdash. So marriage is not only about what I have in home, it's about for Klal Israel. And right now we're standing in such an auspicious time that any second Mashiach is coming. And any second that he's not coming, then it's another second that I'm missing the redemption. So by me refining myself, working on myself, applying everything that I just told you into my marriage life, I'm hastening the coming of the Geulah, the coming of Mashiach. And don't worry, the question that I get all the time is, but what if Mashiach comes and I didn't get married yet? Don't worry, then you're going to find her like that. Mashiach's going to do this, will be Mesader HaKiddushim. He's going to have chuppot in Bet HaMikdash, one after the other. Of course you want to do it way before Mashiach comes. But don't worry. The point is that not to walk out in this world blind and let your ego run you. Rather say to Hashem, you bring me my other half. I'll do what you want. You do what I want. Hashem tells you, you take care of my business. I'll take care of your business. The more you look, the less you find. You do your ishtadlut, you do your part, and you're saying, okay, the Kadosh Baruch Hu is already going to give me what I deserve. It's going to come in the right package. And I'm going to be ready to accept it. And usually the diamond ring comes wrapped in a very horrible small wrapping. It doesn't come all shiny and glitter. So the big presents, the good presents, they come in small packages and they come usually packed very not nice. But it's the inside that is the diamond. And you want to look at the inside, not at the external things. You want to look at the entire inside of the person. Because after 20 years, the face becomes a little bit wrinkly, and the figure changes a little bit after a couple kids, and the hair starts losing, and then a little stomach. It happens. And then you stayed with the heart, and with the midot, and the respect, and the honor, and what comes out of the mouth, and the love, the real, true love. So Bezrat Hashem, you should all merit to find your other half. B'chesed v'rachamim. Whoever needs to get married, Bezrat Hashem should get married this year, with the right one, at the right time. Have a beautiful chuppah. You can invite me, please. Whoever's already married should get remarried spiritually. Every day we get remarried to our wife. You can renew your vows just by saying, I love you. Just by washing the dishes. I'm just going to finish with one funny thing, is that, this young man came once to the Lubavitch Rebbe and he told him, is that true that it's a sgula, a remedy, that if I fold my talit Motzei Shabbat for Shlom Bayit? So the Rebbe told him, no, fold your sleeves, wash your dishes. That's going to be a remedy for Shlom Bayit. You're not that special. Thank you very much. You should all merit to see the coming of Mashiach very soon. We should have the ultimate married